I'm sure many of you would have not even got a chance to go back and look at what is covered, and that's where it becomes a lot of depth. Huh? Okay, so you will create yourself depth actually. If at all you are not putting effort to study and learn what I've told, and you want to come back after a week or few days, you will tend to forget things. You have to revise at least. Okay, so today I attended class. I have spent or I've invested like almost like 1 hour in attending this class. So you can go on writing after some time. Okay, this is the things I have learned. Just to see that okay you use what is a value add from this particular class. It's very important. Everybody has 24 hours. Okay, so I don't want to bore you with a lot of stuff, but I'm saying just saying. So make sure you are staying on top of it. So if you miss out some of the things, if you miss out and later you try to practice, you will not get it. That's the point. Yeah. As and when things are done, make sure you practice along with it. Don't leave it for tomorrow or a day, and some other day. All right. So what are we covering today? It's about CSS property called transition. Yeah. So this is somewhat similar to transform, but let's see what is transition and the different values. So this is also a property in CSS. Transition, just like transform, is also a property in CSS. Yeah. So this will help us to define some transitions. So you can change. For example, now I do a hover. You see it is moving. Again a release, it comes back. So there is a so from here to here it is moving. And we know yesterday we have learned with transform as a property how to move element from here to here. But today the same movement instead of showing instantly, right? What if I show you it moves from here to here? Instead of that, what are we doing? We are showing it at that in a slow motion. That from here to here it is moving. And also it is having a color change. Yeah, it is having a color change. You see it is green and then it slowly turns into red. It doesn't show immediately. You understand? So like this, so whatever the changes we are doing, so we can show the transition path. So basically this is it literal English meaning, right? Transition. So how it went from here to here. So using a transition property, we can control that, yeah, state changes, be it color change, be it background color change, yeah, be it size change. So there is a property called transition property itself that gives me a control on so what all properties I can do. So in simple, transition is actually a shorthand property. So there are constituent properties, what we call, meaning there are like, so it basically a shorthand for all these property, the transition property, transition duration, timing function, and the delay. Yeah. So did you get the point now? Basically, the transition will help me, okay, to see, correct? It will appear in front of me, correct? So, so it will show me the state change. Yeah. Okay, let's see the MDN. Okay. So what all they have told before I come to the transition which is given over there. So here, yeah, so it's a shorthand for duration, timing function, delay, and there's I think also a transition behavior, okay, which they might have added recently. And yeah, this is what I was saying. The constituent properties of that shorthand is these are the ones. We have a different syntax here, how it works. Fine, no worries. And by default, transition will be none, right? So there is no transition applied to any of the element. Yeah. So no transition will occur. Basically, you want to reset the In case I want to reset it, then also I can give transition none. Yeah, you see, these are some initial values. So delay will be 0. Duration is a property that has a 0 value, 0 seconds. Transition property all. We'll discuss about each of this, but just see the default or the initial values of each of these. Now it is inherited. No, we know what is inheritance. Yeah, and there is a formal syntax also telling like what are the different values and all that. Okay, not much on that. So we have examples. So I think today I was talking to one of you saying, okay, why we need to see examples? Because through examples we will be able to understand very quickly. Be it whatever complex topic and all, they might have given a lot of theory here. So why did they mention example? Through examples, it is easy to convey, easy to explain to someone. Correct? So okay, let us understand this example. Okay. So and again, why I'm making this or highlighting here. Whenever you are learning next time any of the property, make sure you check most of the section. At least, okay. For sure, you will do a try it. Okay. You also have to read about the syntax, and then yeah, examples also you see, which will basically so that's how you will learn more about that particular property or whatever you're reading, especially MDN. This is a standard template for every page. Make sure you read it. Okay, so let's come to what is a transition, a simple example. So what they've got a simple anchor tag, okay, with the class name as target and over me, basically mouse over. Yeah. Now, so we apply for this particular element, so the basics, CSS properties. Along with that, we can also apply what is called as transition. Yesterday we have learned transform, and this is transition. Okay, not to confuse with the name. So now what is the transition definition we are saying? We are saying background color 2 second and 500 milliseconds. This is what we were showing, that it's a shortened property which basically has this. So delay, duration, correct? Okay, so yeah, we'll come to that. So this is how the definition looks like. And when this transition will start? Yeah, when is the transition going to start?
When mouse arrow is over on any
Ah,
content.
so there we need a trigger point. We need a trigger at which this transition is going to start. Okay, so this is a anchor element. Let's take that example as is. So for the target, they have applied transition. I will actually put that CSS as it is. Do you see the transition is happening? Yeah, maybe it happened once it is loaded, correct? But now, did it happen? I think no. Let's put this color also. Let's put an trigger point. The trigger point says whenever you do here, this says it's a pseudo class. We know we have learned pseudo classes also. Yeah. So here we are applying to this particular class. So now I'll do a hover. Do you see a color change now? Do you see a transition happening? It did not immediately move. Yeah. So let's say if I have not applied transition, let's see the difference. Okay. Now let's not have the transition, and you observe the how that state change happens. See how cool it is to see without transition. Okay. I'm just hovering on that particular text. Observe that. Do you see? This is the effect without a transition. But to see how does the transition actually helps, or what's the impact of having a transition, see that now. See difference? Again I'm showing. Yeah. So slowly, it's kind of like a slide, huh? You've seen the slide effect, correct? In PowerPoint, something similar to that. And in slides also we have these kind of effects, a transition effect, slide in, slide out. Yeah. So this is the purpose of transition. Now see, with this example itself, we understood most of the things. So we need a trigger, okay, when the transition should start. Now what is transitioning? That value we have to change here. Be it color, be it its position. So whatever is changing, okay, from pale golden rod, it is changing to dark orange. So this is a property which is basically changing, or we see a state change. That exact property we have given here as an as a property name for transition. You understand? We have given the name transition, I mean the property name itself here. And what is this? Okay, the second value, I think, let me see. So it is the duration. How long I should show that transition? Should I show it immediately? Okay, or no? Should I show it like slowly? How long? For how long I should show the transition? What is the duration to till I mean I have to show this transition effect. And this is a delay, meaning immediately don't show it. Take a pause. Okay, this is called the delay, and this is the transition duration. Is this example clear? Okay, we made one example clear now. This is how you have to study. Okay, now I think this is enough. I think they have not given more examples. If at all they find that okay, you need some more varieties of example, they will do mention it actually. They'll do mention. They'll put all the properties. I mean different examples of with you know basically they'll give you all sorts of example for you to understand. Okay, so with that important point, let's come to understand each of this property and how they behave. So so let's understand each of these properties first. Now the first thing is transition property. So the default value is all. What is it? The transition, when it is saying all, whatever property you are changing after the trigger. For example, on over, we were only seeing background color being changed. But what if I want color also be changed? In that case, I will say instead of just background color, I can also say color comma background color, one option. Or I can just say all, transition all, which means whatever properties you are changing, I'll just make sure that transition happens to all those. I might change the color from which is black to, let's say, white. It will show the transition. By what? By saying that property, all the property I would like to transition, whether it is width, whether it is margin, padding, color, border. See, everything gets transitioned and then it reverts back. So, so this basically a value which controls okay what all properties you would like to you know transition show the transition for. And you see you can mention the exact property name like the example we saw. It is also possible to remove that. Okay, no property. Yeah, it's just same as like okay tuck tuck. Yeah, this is a transition slowly happening. This is without transition. Now here, yeah, you can show that only background color gets transition. You do you see now what is happening? The background color is changing, and also we can see the transition. But the movement is happening very quickly. Why? Because I only given background as a property. Only background is being transitioned. Rest of the things are instant. Now here again color. Yeah, you could see that. So likewise you can mention the property names. Also, uh, yeah, we can even mention like transform property. Like if you want to have that actually being transformed. You see the movement. That example you see. So you remember I said transform. Using transform translate we can do it. Let's see how we do this effect, huh? Because we only saw that okay changing this color. How? Using all. Now I can also add, see this element is here which is in the left, but I would like to move to the right. How? How I would like to move? How do I move? Yesterday we have learned it is possible to do transformation also. Remember? And we know that we can use that function called translate. And here specifically, let's say if I do X and I would like to move it by 100 pixel on the X direction. That's what I want to do when the transition is happening. I want this element to move actually when the trigger is over. Let's see what happens with this. So yesterday we have learned this property. Now let's apply that. Did it happen? No? Did I make a spelling mistake? Translate X 100 pixel. Okay. Sorry, you're saying something?
Same issue.
Semicolon. Okay, semicolon missed. I think it is still fine because it's the last property. Let's say if it something follows this, then there's a problem. Okay, wait a second. This is an anchor element. Okay, first, how do I debug? So let's check if the translate is working or not. Correct? I might have misspelled it. I might have done something wrong. So let's check the translate part of it. Is it working? No, not really. So let me check if this syntax works by putting here. I'm just showing you how normally I'll debug. Is the transform working? Really it should work, right? Translate yesterday, remember? Translate, okay. So 50 pixel. So the element should move. Element should move what? Move like this. Correct? That's what we have learned with the transform. Not happening. Basically the transformation itself is not happening. Yeah, just hard coded. Okay. What exactly the issue? So let's inspect. Let's inspect and see. Okay, this is commented. This is 100 pixel, 50 pixel. All fine. Okay, so is it something to do with inline element? Let me quickly check by putting okay, a block element. I don't remember if it, yeah. Do you see what happened now? Do you see a transition happening? I mean the transformation happening with the translate. Okay,
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
yeah. Observe this. So basically on an inline element, the transform is not working. To again to do a translate. Okay, so let's also do another experiment. Now just not okay. I want to confirm if only translate is possible or not. So let's say is it possible to scale scale in a factor of 0.5. See, not possible. No need of trigger only. Okay. So basically on inline elements, the transformation is not working. All right. Okay. We understood that. Fine. So now I am changing it element to different element, and then I also have a yeah. Let me switch back. Transition now. I would like to do transformation. That transformation only I would like to show it. Okay. I would like to show. So now on hover, what all has to happen? It has to do a transformation. See, it moves next direction by 100 pixel, as and when I release, it comes back. Now let's say I want it to be like a box and all that. So you put a border and you make it display inline block. Make sure the element is only having so much, yeah, width. Now you can put 100 or 200 and you can increase the delay and see that it is moving. That's how it is moving here. Same stuff, correct? We did now something similar to this. It's just that all the properties are doing, but I explicitly say quoted, okay, only transform. Now let's say if I say all, then you will see color change, yeah, background color change, transform. So all these properties, whatever you have mentioned on over, are being shown, yeah, during the transition. Or basically the transition of all these things will be shown slowly, yeah, for a duration of how much? 2 seconds. And there will be an initial delay of 0.5 seconds. So this is, yeah, the property called a transition. Very simple property names. Yeah, this is a property which says all. Okay, so now the transition property is clear. More or less we understood. I can mention none, or I can mention a particular property, or it is by default all. Now what is the other properties we have? Yeah, duration. Simple. The name itself says it's a duration, but then what duration it is? How long the transition should last. Yeah, so 0 second, meaning instant. You can also put some decimal values also. You can put even milliseconds also. You can express in millisecond, seconds, with decimal, without decimal, all that is possible. So it's just how long the you want to see it. Okay. The other property is timing function. Yeah, this is where that slide in, slide out effect will come. Basically, default is, you're seeing this, but ease in. Okay. So difficult to explain. Yeah. So you see, the transition starts slowly and accelerates in the middle. So basically we will have a curve actually which will talk about this timing function. Basically during that transition how the speed should increase. Maybe it will start slowly, it accelerates and then slow down. That's where you see the cool effect, right? Yeah, ease in, starts slowly, accelerates gradually until the end. So the curve is slow and then sudden rise, or basically slow and then it will go on rising till it reaches the end. So likewise they have the transition functions actually. Yeah, so you see there is a linear, yeah, constant speed, same 20 km/h. Okay, here it is ease in out, ease but more pronounced. Yeah, starts quickly and also decelerates gradually. Okay, yeah, that's what quick transition. So this is what is, so the timing function. Yeah, we might be having so many different timing functions also. but they have mentioned these ones. Yeah, yeah, you see there is something called steps. There are step end, step start. So we can use any of these. Just exactly like how you want your slide to appear. You have some different effects. Huh? So that effect is actually controlled by this timing function. All right. Then we got transition delay, the last one to understand. The delay they are saying, okay, you don't want immediately things to start. You need some delay. Delay will basically give us some time to observe, right? So 0 second by default, meaning it starts right away. If you give 0 second, yeah, you can say 1.2 second. Say over after some seconds, it started. Here 2.4 seconds. So here negative delay also possible. Will start as if it's already been playing. You see, it started in the middle. Okay, you don't see that initial transitioning effect only. Yeah, negative value also possible. So likewise, so transition as a property, yeah, used like this, yeah, it has so many, not so many, like, okay, we have got four, but actually, if I see the documentation, it says there are five. There is one more which is added. I think it's called transition behavior. Yeah, where the transition will be started for properties whose animation behavior is discrete. Okay, so not sure what it is. I think recently they have introduced. We have some examples also talking about like what exactly is this property. Yeah, I would say, okay, so I would say, I think as one to start with, I think if you understand even this property, which is good enough. Now, there is one point of caution, which is basically, so we don't do much of transitions actually. Also not recommended you implementing a lot of transition. Do you see any websites like all zigzag things moving, you know, this kind of effect? You know, people especially, okay, especially who are aged people, okay, they don't like things which are moving like this. That's one of the thing, okay. So what I'm trying to say, in practice, transition is not recommended, yeah, to have so too many transitions actually introduced. Yeah, these are also like a distractions. This property can do so much, but then usage wise, limited usage. Second thing, there is also a performance factor which is associated with the transition, which is called, there is one performance, you know, matrix, which is called cumulative layout shift. What is it called? So it's cumulative layout shift. It's a performance, one of the performance metric. Yeah. So, so basically what it says, so while people are using, if at all things are shifting, it will have a poor user experience. Why? Because it can disrupt. See, there is something is moving. Suddenly, I may not be able to follow it that fast. Correct? You see that cursor is moving so much, the blinking and all that. Yeah. So this is actually this parameter measures how much is that layout shift is happening, and that says there is a good CLS and there is a bad CLS. So yeah, let's not get into all that. In simple, so this property also affects the CLS score. Lesser the value, it is good. That's why it is also recommended not to have too many transitions which are applied on the page. Though it looks for you a cool, it can give you some moving or animation effect. All right, I think this is what is transition as a property. Any questions on this?